Okay, so you've been told that Stoicism is all about, just enduring suffering
Right.
silently, like just taking it on the chin
Yeah.
and not complaining. Well,
It's a bit of a caricature, isn't it?
that's dead wrong.
Yeah.
The real Stoics,
Yeah.
they weren't passive at all. They were
Okay.
strategic rebels.
Yeah.
And you're gonna learn the 3 times you must never stay silent.
Absolutely.
So think about that image we all have, right? The composed Stoic,
Mm-hmm.
just weathering all of life's storms
Yeah.
with this quiet strength. But when you really look into the lives of history's greatest Stoics,
Right.
like really dive deep,
Yeah.
you discover something pretty surprising. They weren't bystanders
Yeah.
at all. They often spoke truth to power, even when it was incredibly risky.
Yeah, like really dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Taking their lives in their hands.
Think of Seneca, right? I mean, his writings,
Mm-hmm.
they often critiqued the Emperor Nero.
Yeah. And he paid the price, ultimately.
Yeah, or Cato the Younger.
Oh,
Standing up against Caesar with every fiber of his being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These weren't just masters of self-control.
Right.
These were vocal, disruptive figures
Yeah.
when it mattered most.
Yeah.
So we're diving deep today for you into the core of Stoicism
Okay.
to pinpoint those critical moments
Mm-hmm.
when staying silent isn't virtuous.
Yeah.
It's a disservice.
It was like a betrayal.
Yeah. We're going to uncover the 3 times a Stoic must find their voice.
Absolutely.
So what's fascinating is you examine Stoicism beyond the
Beyond the kind of, like the
memes.
memes and like the popular kind of, conceptions of it's
Yeah.
this active engagement with the world,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't about retreating into some kind of inner peace while injustice was unfolding around them.
Mhm.
These individuals often put themselves on the line,
Yeah.
a great personal risk.
Yeah.
And when you look at their philosophy, you see why. It's because in certain situations, silence isn't just an option. It's a failure of virtue.
Yeah.
So let's explore these crucial junctures where a Stoic is compelled to speak out.
Okay, let's unpack the first one. The "it's not my problem" silence.
Okay.
I think we probably all recognize this, right?
Right.
The casual cruelty we overhear and we just don't challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
The hint of, something unethical happening at work that everyone just seems to ignore.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the kind of silence that we're talking about. The shrug, the averted gaze, the
Yeah.
feeling that it's someone else's responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to deal with this.
Yeah, and this kind of detachment, right? Where
Yeah.
you just kind of stand by while harm is being done.
Yeah.
This goes against a fundamental Stoic understanding of the world,
Mm-hmm.
which is the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully when he said, "What injures the hive injures the bee."
Right.
So for the Stoics, there was this sense of being a citizen of the cosmos,
Right.
with a responsibility that extends far beyond just your own immediate concerns. So when you see harm being inflicted, even if you're not the direct target, it affects the whole.
Right.
Right, and as a part of that whole, you have a stake in it.
Exactly. So the Stoic response isn't to just wait for someone else to step in.
Right.
If you have the capacity to act, even in a small way,
Mm-hmm.
there's a duty to do so.
Absolutely.
And if you feel like you can't make a difference on your own, the
Mhm.
Stoic approach would be to seek out others who share your concern,
Yes.
to build alliances with those who also recognize the injustice.
Yeah, it's not about being a lone crusader.
Right.
It's about understanding your role within a larger community and acting accordingly.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So this leads us to the second critical moment where a Stoic must speak.
Okay.
The avoiding conflict, silence.
Okay.
This is when the desire for personal comfort or the illusion of harmony trumps truth and integrity.
Yeah.
Think about those times when you've held back a comment to avoid an uncomfortable situation,
Mm-hmm.
or just nodded along in a meeting to maintain peace. Oh, yeah. Even though you really disagreed with what was being said.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there,
Yeah.
letting a disrespectful remark slide,
Right.
not voicing a crucial counterpoint because you don't want to cause friction.
Yeah. Just keep the peace.
Yeah, it feels easier in the short term, right?
It does. It does. But from a Stoic perspective,
Yeah.
it represents a failure to cultivate courage, which is a core Stoic virtue.
Mm-hmm.
Epictetus, who certainly faced his share of adversity, advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish.
Right.
The Stoics weren't about pursuing ease and comfort.
Right.
They were dedicated to living a virtuous life, and that often involves stepping outside your comfort zone and facing potential disapproval.
So the Stoic response here isn't about picking arguments for the sake of it.
Right.
It's about having the inner strength to articulate your perspective, not necessarily to win a debate, but to stay true to your principles. It could be as simple as stating calmly and without any aggression, I see things differently and here's why.
Yeah.
No need for apologies or emotional outbursts.
Right.
Just a clear and reasoned expression of your viewpoint.
Yeah, that calm, rational articulation is so important.
Yeah.
Demonstrates self-mastery.
Yeah.
Another key Stoic virtue. And it underscores that speaking up in these moments is about upholding your integrity, not about seeking external validation or victory.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the third type of silence where a Stoic must speak.
Okay.
They won't listen. Anyway, silence. This is the silence born from cynicism and a sense of futility. You know, that feeling that your voice simply won't make a difference. So why even bother?
Right.
Not participating because my contribution doesn't matter. Not offering feedback because they never act on it.
Oh, I know.
I mean, this can be a tempting trap, right?
It can be.
Yeah.
And it can be seductive because it gives you an excuse for inaction.
Oh.
But this kind of resignation is fundamentally at odds with the Stoic emphasis on duty.
Right.
The Stoics believed in fulfilling their responsibilities, regardless of the perceived likelihood of success.
Yeah.
You consider Cato the Younger, again, who continued to oppose Julius Caesar, even when it was evident that Caesar's power was insurmountable.
Right.
His actions weren't about achieving a specific outcome.
Right.
They were about upholding his principles and fulfilling his duty to the Republic as he saw it.
So the Stoic response here is to concentrate on what lies within your own control.
Exactly.
Your actions, your intentions, the effort that you put forth. You do what is right because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Not because you're guaranteed a particular result.
It's not about the outcome.
Right.
It's about doing what's right.
Your duty is to engage, to offer your perspective, to act in accordance with your values.
Yeah.
The ultimate outcome is...
It's beyond you.
Yeah, it's outside of your control.
To a large extent. Yeah. And that's a crucial distinction to remember.
Yeah.
The Stoic finds a sense of freedom in focusing on their own judgments and actions,
Right.
rather than being held hostage by the potential for external success or failure. And this empowers you to act with integrity, even when the odds seem stacked against you.
Now, let's face it, speaking up, especially in these kinds of situations, can have repercussions.
Oh, yeah.
Even someone as influential as Marcus Aurelius wasn't immune to criticism or pushback.
Right.
So how do you, as someone striving for Stoic virtue, speak your mind effectively without losing your inner equilibrium?
Yeah, that's the key.
So that's where our practical rules come in.
All right, let's hear them.
All right, rule number 1.
Okay.
Premeditation of backlash.
Okay.
For you, this means preparation beats panic.
Okay, so tell me more about this premeditation of backlash.
So this is a powerful technique
Okay.
that is rooted in the Stoic practice of proactively considering potential difficulties before you decide to speak up, particularly in a challenging situation.
Yeah.
Take a moment to ask yourself,
Okay.
what's the worst realistic outcome here? Then, and this is crucial, ask, can I accept that?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, you can proceed with greater clarity and courage. If the answer is no, it might be wise to adjust your approach,
Right.
but not necessarily to remain silent.
Okay.
So as Seneca wisely noted, premeditating evils robs them of their power to surprise and upset us.
Right.
So by mentally rehearsing the possible negative consequences,
Yes.
whether it's disagreement, criticism, or something more significant,
Yeah.
you'll be less likely to be thrown off balance if they actually materialize. Epictetus offered a vivid analogy. He compared those who are caught off guard by hardship to lambs being led to slaughter,
Oh, wow.
while philosophers are prepared. So this preparation isn't about being negative or expecting the worst. It's about being realistic and cultivating emotional resilience
Yeah.
by acknowledging potential negative outcomes in advance. You're essentially choosing how you will respond to them
Yeah.
rather than being caught unprepared and reacting impulsively.
Right. I like that. That's
Yeah.
a really good distinction.
Okay, rule number 2 is the unshakable script.
Okay.
This is about how to actually voice those difficult truths without letting emotions take over. The Stoic format is straightforward.
Okay.
State the fact,
Okay.
explain the impact,
You may
they maquetch it, And the key here is to do this without emotional language or unnecessary apologies.
Yeah, I like that. No apologies.
Yeah.
So tell me more about why no apology.
Well, because this structured approach is designed to keep the conversation focused and objective.
Right.
Which is essential for constructive communication.
Yeah.
By beginning with a neutral statement of fact, you reduce defensiveness in others.
All right.
Then, by clearly explaining the impact of the situation, you highlight what's at stake without resorting to personal attacks or blame.
Right.
Finally, the request provides a clear path forward, a potential solution, rather than just a complaint.
So it's not just complaining.
Right.
You're actually offering something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at an example. A weak approach might be, you always dismiss my ideas, and it's really frustrating.
Right.
That's all about personal feeling.
Yeah, an accusation.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Now consider the Stoic alternative in a context where proposals are being dismissed in meetings.
Okay.
In the last 3 meetings, my proposals were dismissed without discussion. This pattern risks overlooking valuable ideas. Moving forward, could we allocate 5 minutes for a brief evaluation of each proposal?
I like that. So you're giving...
It's calm, it's factual, it outlines the consequence, and it offers a specific, actionable solution.
Yeah, that's great. And notice the crucial difference. The Stoic example centers on observable facts and their potential negative consequences for the team or the organization.
Right.
Rather than dwelling on personal emotions or assigning blame.
Right.
Yeah, the request is specific and can be acted upon. This kind of communication is far more likely to be well received and lead to positive change.
And the final rule is post-battle detachment.
Okay.
You've spoken up, now what happens?
Yeah, what do you do?
You might encounter mockery. You might be ignored.
Right.
And in the best case scenario, you might even witness a change of heart.
Yeah.
But the Stoics would remind you that this outcome is a bonus, not the primary objective.
Right.
For you, the key is managing your own reaction.
So how would a Stoic respond in these types of situations?
Well, the Stoic response to these various reactions is rooted in understanding the distinction between what you can control and what you can't.
Okay.
You have control over your own actions and intentions, but you cannot dictate how others will respond to them. So if you face criticism, the Stoic perspective is, I articulated what I believe to be true. Their reaction is their responsibility, not mine.
Okay.
If you are met with silence, it's, I planted a seed. Whether or not it takes root and grows is beyond my direct control.
Oh.
Marcus Aurelius, after engaging in difficult conversations or actions, would often ask himself, did I act justly? And did I control only what was within my power? His conclusion would be, then nothing else ultimately matters.
Wow.
That's the core of post-battle detachment. You focus on whether your actions were virtuous and aligned with your principles, and you release the need to control the external results or other people's opinions.
So this internal validation is vital for maintaining your inner peace.
Yeah.
By anchoring your sense of rightness in your own virtuous action.
Right.
Rather than in seeking external approval or specific outcomes, you become much more resilient to the inevitable challenges of social interaction and the unpredictable nature of the world.
To bring it all together for you, the central idea is that true Stoicism isn't about passively accepting everything. It's about strategically using your voice when it truly counts.
And those essential times to break your silence, as we've discussed, are when your silence would allow harm to continue unchecked.
Yeah.
When it would force you to compromise your own integrity.
Right.
And when it would mean neglecting a clear duty that you have.
And remember, the Stoic tools available to you for speaking up effectively, the premeditation of backlash to prepare you for potential negative consequences, the unshakable script to help you express yourself clearly and calmly, and post-battle detachment to safeguard your inner peace, regardless of the response you receive.
What's truly powerful to consider is how these ancient principles remain so relevant in our modern world, in an environment often filled with noise and distractions. The Stoic approach to speaking truth with clarity, courage, and a focus on virtue offers valuable framework for navigating complex social dynamics and staying true to your values.
This philosophy has endured for millennia, not because its followers were quiet and compliant, but because they were, when necessary, dangerously articulate. And it challenges you right now to think about how your own voice, used wisely and strategically in those crucial moments, can also have a lasting impact.
I like that. That's a great way to sum it up.